Here's a what to build for Faria or Faria. Let's call her Faria. I'm going to read the front of the card and then I'll go to the back of the card. So when it drops in, discard a card with inheritance, draw a card. Play this ability only during your turn and only once per turn. That means, so inheritance, you discard the card and you splice that ability onto some other card. All right, I think that's how inheritance works. But in this case, you would draw a card from it, but it would be almost like a cycling ability. It would be cycling because you're not really using that inheritance. You're saying, okay, I don't need it, but I'm going to get a card out of it. That's pretty good. And then for one white-green, you do judgment, and then you get to the other side. Enters the battlefield, or your field. Place the top card of your magic stone deck, so it gives you one additional stone, so it bumps you. That's good. Then each turn you may play your first inheritance ability without paying its cost. Now you still have to discard the card, and the God's Art doesn't cost anything. You just use it once per game. This card gains barrier, which I believe is like a shroud or hexproof. I thought that was imperishable. Barrier. I'll have to look it up. Sorry. All right, so that's Faria. Let's call her Faria. And so let's look at inheritance. Let's look at the cards that are in her two colors, white and green, as double color cards. All right, a lot of these have inheritance. And the inheritance is always something good that you'll get by discarding the card. So target J Resonator gains plus 500, which is exactly what this card is. Yeah, and that's pretty good because if that resonator is already on the board, effectively it's got swiftness because it doesn't have summoning sickness, and precision until end of turn. I believe precision is trample. Yeah, so you would when you turn this over, you would not be paying the first time you do inheritance. You actually don't pay the cost, so you would want to do that on your heaviest inheritance cost, obviously. Yeah. And it describes here what it does, which is what I was just describing. And then when it enters the field, draw a card. But if you discard it, you don't draw the card. Oh, you do actually. You do. And then you give it the attack and defense. Okay, that seems to be the theme. Quickness, flying. That's pretty good. That's a good card. Choose one. Choose both if you control both types. Okay, which you're going to do in this deck. You may put a light or wind resonator with total cost 4 or less from your hand into your field. That's pretty good. Or put 4 counters on each resonator you control. Whoa. Wow, that's pretty good. The second one is beastly. I like that a lot. Besto, so it's an addition. You put it on a resonator, and you just turn it into a rainbow. It can do all 5 attributes. That's good. You may play one less to play this card if you control a moon. No, we're not gonna do that. I'm gonna put it in the pile. But there's no. I mean, yeah. Well, I'm gonna leave it in, but I'll have to think about getting moons in here. Yeah. Okay. Prevent the first damage that would be dealt to this card. Prevent damage. It's not that great. And we're not going for Will of Hope like we were in Million when we added darkness. Okay, so that's the white, green. And then I've also added white, red. And it was very well thought out, even though I didn't read the cards. Because this wonderful card does have Awakening. And it's got Awakening for white and Awakening for red. So it's a fantastic addition to this deck. And it's a Thulu. And there is some Thulu shenanigans going on in red that I'll talk about. Although I did not dig up enough Thulus. So I'll have to look at that. Again, this is in the what to build. I learn about the cards. And then I go and I do a little not PowerPoint, but like a Google Slides. While looking through the Force of Will database. Okay, so the Awakening, limit 1, I don't know what that means. I'll look it up. Awakening, and you have to pay that cost. I wonder if you get to pay both or yeah, I wonder if you gotta pick one or the other. Maybe that's the limit one. When this card enters your field, remove target resonator from the game. That's pretty good. Oh, it's a Tucker. So it removes it, but you really temporarily exile it under this card. And then when this card gets whacked, your opponent gets the card back. Or in the Fire, when this card enters your field, you may play a light or fire chant with total cost 3 or less from your hand without paying its cost. That's really good. At the end of turn, if there are no limit counters on this card, return it to its owner's hand. Oh, interesting. So I'm going to have to read the rulebook for this. Does it mean that I put it back and then I can cast it again and kind of alternate between white and red? I don't really know, but it looks like a really strong card. Yeah, it does. Okay. Yeah, you tap something and you tap something you control to tap something your opponent controls, and then gains +200/+200 and flying if you have enough stones. This is oh man, this is a card from Ravnica. Yeah, an instant. It hits for damage either to the player or the resonator. The name escapes me because I'm old, but it's a magic card. It's a magic card that is in Ravnica 1 and in Ravnica 2. And it is white-red. Yeah, it is white-red. Swiftness, precision, first strike. Very nice. Very nice card. Yeah. So I think this is, well, first strike is first strike. I think precision is trample and then haste. Trample, haste, first strike. Man, what's not to like? Enters your field, play from your hand, remove another target resonator you control from the game, then put it into its owner's field rested. So it's a flicker effect for something that like gains you a card when it enters the field. A dragon, it's got flying, what's not to like? When this card enters your field, destroy target rested resonator your opponent controls. That's very nice. I like that. Enters your field, search. So yeah, so there you go. So this dude is going to help you to do it again. Do it again. Play it again, Sam. To do one of these when it enters the battlefield. Destroy target rest. Yeah, and then this one is search your deck for this guy. So there's cards like this in Magic where you drop it, you search for another one with that name, then you drop that, then you search for another one with the same name and you drop it. Very good. And of course, if you have two of them in your hand and you drop those two, then you get the other two because each one triggers individually. Very nice. Very nice selection of cards. Alright, and then let's go to white or light. I didn't find a heck of a lot for this deck in light. Put counters whenever a J resonator blocks. That's nice. Release the seal abilities of light cards and spells you control. I believe it means that you don't need to have the number of rocks, that you can just use it. This is a nice one. This is a nice inheritance because when it gets whacked, it goes into the graveyard. You get a 600/600 light dragon resonator with flying. That's very nice. And of course, with inheritance, you don't even need to get for it to get it whacked. You just drop the 600/600. Again, the toolkit for white, more toolkit for white. And then when this card enters your field, destroy target J resonator that dealt damage this turn. Very nice. Very nice card. It's a secret rare. It gains +200 and first strike until end of turn, and you can pump it. So it's multiples. Very nice. Of course, another 0. After I discuss these decks, I always put some of the cards back in the color because I don't have infinite number, and I'm going to be discussing 5 different decks. So I'm going to say, yeah, it would be in the deck once I get a whole bunch of them. And for now, I'll just leave it there. Okay, let's go discuss fire. Various damage dealing cards, inheritance for damage, very nice. Then a Thulu, and there's a Thulu discussion that I want to have. Just a very nice card that can get flying and swiftness at mid-game. Hit for stuff, you know, just damage. Various ways to to cause damage, and that's what red is for. Choose a race. Resonators you control, it chosen race gain swiftness. I'm not sure it's good in this deck, but I'm just showing it. And then I'll read this card some other time. I don't think I have the time in this video, but it's very interesting. I have read it before, and I'm going to leave it in here and discuss it at some other time. Drop a 1000 firewall resonator, and then banish it. So you hit with it, and then you banish it. Yeah, bump something a little bit. One of the most beautiful cards in Force of Will. This is one of those big dudes that causes a lot of damage. I'll read it some other day. It's very interesting. Then Thulu, so there's a Thulu, second Thulu. Then a dragon, and you want to have an empty hand when you cast this. It's cheaper that way, right? Yeah, it's only 2 if you have an empty hand. If you have every card in your hand costs you 1 more. Yeah, double damager thingy. Okay, there you have it. And I think this card, because it doesn't have anything specific and it's a secret rare, I'm going to put it back in the pile. But everything else I'm just going to leave in. And I've already discussed them all. I believe I have, yeah, this is just a rare, beautiful card. I'll put it back on there, because I'm going to leave these permanently. And then there was something that wanted Thulus. This has inheritance. I forget where it was, but I'm going to leave it in. Okay, so let's go, of course, to I mean, when you have wind, you just have so much available at your disposal. Flying, I mean, flying in green is crazy. That would never happen in Magic. Inheritance for draw a card. Counters to pump for mana or will. Boost something by a lot. Acceleration. Copy abilities with Storm, Torrent. Haste. It's a secret rare, so I'm going to put it back in the pile. You know, a little bit of denial strategy. Bird of Paradise, but for Force of Will. And this is another one of those where you search for it, you keep plopping them on. But it's not like BOP in the sense that it doesn't give you any color attributes. Yeah, but it's more like you get to tutor for another one. Gives you Rainbow, put it back in the pile because I don't think I have a dozen of them. Torrent for Regalia, I'm going to put it back in the pile as well. Yeah, denial strategy. Return target spell to its owner's hand with Storm. I mean, that's crazy to give it to Wind. Plummet. It's Plummet for 1. Boost another Resonator by a lot. Yeah. Busted. Destroy target resonator your opponent controls. That's very nice. Put it back in the pile. Very nice card. This card gains 4/3 as long as you control 5 or more magic stones. Very nice card. Put into a graveyard. Produce any one of, yeah, so it's kind of like a rainbow effect. Return another target resonator to its, so you get to trigger another enter ability, and it's got inheritance, so it's definitely going in here. It's not one of those that gets put in the pile. So inheritance belongs with Faria. Okay, so there you have it. That's Faria. And I'll move on to the other 3 rulers in the next videos. This is just a what to build.